Hi, this is Sherry Veronica. I really think that Santia Bradshaw and the doctor she collaborated with for the story, Dr. Browne, I really think that they need to be put in their place, because when they say that mental health is at a crisis level in Barbados, it is evident that they're not telling you the truth. They're not speaking the truth as they know it to you. Mental health crisis or a mental health situation in Barbados is expected, it's common, it's within you, it's part of who you are as ex or coming from slavery, coming from ancestors who were slaves. It is part of who you are. And I feel that when she talks about looking at the 1985 mental health law, the laws that you have there in place, I think she should also look to add people who rape and people who rob, and people, you see, simple things to you that they're not so simple when it's a place that is as homogenous as Barbados, and a place that came out of such tragedy, such trauma. It's not so simple there, because you will have to be, something will have to be wrong with you. It's not just a criminal act. That is where I think you guys have it really wrong. It's not a mere criminal act when it happens in a place like Barbados. It's actually a mental health act when, after everything you have been through together as a people, as a society, as a nation, you've gone through it together, then for you to rape and to rob and to malign and to burglarize other people's properties and take from them, it's a sign of mental health problem. It's a mental health problem you have there. So I think that when she gets up in the news and talking about revisiting the 1985 law and the parameters of that law that govern mental health issues, and at what point do you enter the psychiatric hospital and that kind of stuff, she should also look to talk to you about giving you a real crisp, a real truthful look at your history. That's rare. I think that if you were to know, not just like recite things that people say to you and the curriculum that was put there by the colonial masters, I think if you were to really take a good look at your history, it will unravel things that are held like dormant within you, and you're acting now, and you really are not sure why you're razor thin with it in terms of being able to cope with things. You fly off the handle easily. If you were to be taught your history and given the opportunity to look back on yourself, you're looking back at yourself now, or you're looking in the mirror and questioning yourself and dissecting yourself, I think you will be in a better place. I think you will be in a better position to handle yourself and to know if you should bring children into the world. Because sometimes if you have a history, a family history of mental illness, why bring a child into the world? When you know your history, you almost have become very intelligent, and you can decide, do I want to duplicate myself in this particular area? Do I want to do this? It makes you intelligent. And I think that along with the mental health crisis and them looking at it and say, oh, younger people are being pulled into it, it's with you. It's part of who you are. It's part of your history. Okay? It's part of your history, and it's based on what you went through when you were slaves. It's not normal. It was a normal situation. It lasted way too long. Way too long. Santia Bradshaw, they have to tell you the truth, and stop like throwing you these little morsels every now and again because something flares up every now and again, this little flare up. They need to come out and teach you and tell you the truth about your history so you can walk with that knowledge, and you're better off in your decision making. You're better off to make decisions when you know what you're all about. And like I said, raping and killing and stealing and robbing, all of that needs to be looked at from a mental health standpoint, because within who you are as a people and what you went through as a people, and you're doing that to yourself, you're repeating all of those ills. It shows that you're not healthy. It's not a healthy place to be, because when you see others in the world, and you have to compare other civilizations, other societies, and how they have pulled out of situations and they became very powerful because of that particular thing that happened to them. The Jews, for instance, Jewish people, they became very powerful because of what happened to them, and they became very decisive, and they know what roads to take. That is not what you're doing. You're still being led. You are still being led. Okay? You're still being dictated to. Okay? You need to know your history so you can walk upright, so you can make decisions soundly. Okay? So that you can look yourself in the mirror and says, this is who I am. I don't like who I am. I need to change this. I need to do things differently. I have to be careful before I reproduce and replicate myself into a world that really doesn't need someone like me. They don't need more people like me in the world. You start to talk like that. You start to talk like that when you start to look at your history. You start to talk with a intellectual. You start to talk differently once you know where you've come from. Okay? This is Sherry Veronica.